It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, well, listen, it's Friday. We are talking all things movies, and the person that loves to talk movies is JP Sebastian. He is here. We've got a very interesting one to unpack today.
Yes, it's quite a long title. Do you remember it?
3,000 Years of Longing.
10 points to Team Zoe, yes. Directed by George Miller, who previously won the Oscar for Mad Max Fury Road. So this is one of the greatest directors we have alive at the moment. Greatest action movie of all time, arguably, Mad Max Fury Road. Anyway, besides the point. So,
is this an action-packed movie?
The trailer is going to be deceptive. I'll warn you, South Africa. If you've seen the trailer, it's not necessarily what you think, and I'll unpack it for you in a bit. But first of all, speaking of George Miller and the people who worked on 3,000 Years of Longing, how about we have a look at a first part of a featurette? I'll bring you the rest later. Here it is.
My name is Alethea. My story is true.
This is a story about the mysteries and paradoxes of life.
If there is fate, who can say? But in the Grand Bazaar of Istanbul, I chose a memento.
The Arrow's journey of the film is about human evolution. What are your 3 wishes? What do you desire?
And there is no story about wishing that is not a cautionary tale.
I play a djinn, which is essentially a genie. He's made of the very matter that brings space and time together. So he is incredibly powerful.
So what will you wish for? What is your heart's desire?
When Alethea meets the djinn, he opens up the possibility of her life changing.
What does one do with 3 wishes?
You'll see.
What's the age restriction on that movie?
That's a good question. Yes, yes. The age restriction is Idris Elba topless for the entirety of the movie.
Okay, okay. So they didn't have wardrobe for him, or is it just him
You were
showing
making
off?
creepy grunting noises throughout that entire thing.
I did not. I did not.
You don't care if they didn't have wardrobe. The less budget, the better with Idris, right? Like if he could only show up in Speedos. So as you saw there, it's very much a magical kind of adventure type thing. He is a djinn. Which we might think of as genies here in the West. It's not identical, but pretty similar. Grant you 3 wishes, that sort of story. But are they mischievous? Are they naughty? You'll find out. Really important person there, obviously, is Tilda Swinton, who is also one of the greatest actors that we have. There she is. Goddess, what a queen. I love her so much. Geez, you've got George Miller from Mad Max Fury Road, who also did, by the way, Babe, Pig in the City, who did Happy Feet, the guy who did the greatest action movie of all time, who also did 3,000 Years of Longing. Idris Elba, wow, I just snorted, I'm sorry. I think it was the toplessness. Idris Elba and, of course, Tilda Swinton. So she is a, let's say, a literary analyst, analyzes story. Where does it come from? Why do cultures come up with certain tropes? Archetypes, etc., etc. She goes to Istanbul for a conference, and there she finds a magical little vase-type bottle lamp thing.
Try to clean it, and then it breaks.
Yeah, because she thought she was just taking a curio home, and she takes something a lot more curious and topless home with her. So a bit of romance possibly ensues too. I'm not going to give that away for you, obviously, because we still don't know, like I said, if this dude ends up being mischievous. Because she immediately, as someone who studies books, who studies literature, knows that stuff doesn't necessarily go according to plan when you wish for what you believe your heart desires. So the whole thing's this do-si-do, this tango between am I doing the right thing making these wishes, and him telling her these cautionary stories of wishes in the past who failed him, who failed themselves, etc., etc.
So be careful what you wish for,
Is
essentially.
the undergirding kind of idea.
But I wanted to know, with this movie, the trailer we saw, it's fast-packed action. Is that what you can expect throughout the movie?
So I don't blame the movie necessarily for the fact that, sometimes these marketing teams, they'll get a stack of footage and then the studio will go, we don't know what it's about yet, make a trailer. It's a totally different feel once you're in the movie. It's a romance, really, and it's a forlorn, sort of despairing drama about lost love and all that kind of stuff. Not what is promised from the trailer of this, like, psychedelic, trippy, crazy world. And all that footage obviously still is included. You're looking at what's in the movie, but it's a different tone, different feel.
Different storyline, essentially. I think there's nothing worse than a trailer where they give you all the best parts in 30 seconds, and then you go look at that movie for 90 minutes, and you're like, okay, I could have
And
just
so
stayed
now I
and
have to
enjoyed
be a
it.
grouch, because even though I love George Miller, even though he was incredible and gave us Fury Road, this one is unfortunately a bit of a misfire. Tilda Swinton is incredible, Idris Elba is incredible, but you give Idris a character who narrates a lot of the story. A narrator is already a problem. That backseats you as the viewer. You don't necessarily feel immersed when someone's going, once upon a time in a land far, far away. You really sort
You
of like
feel
sit back in your chair.
excluded.
You're quite at a distance, you know what I'm saying? And because the character is not exactly Robin Williams' genie, which is hyper ecstatic and energetic, like JP on TV at the moment, Idris Elba is very much this noble, tell me 3 wishes, so that can get a bit monotonous. The thing can get a bit repetitive, and it does not, I don't feel the chemistry, maybe that's different for different people. You'd have to be a bit more daring. Give me sex, give me love, give me warm-bloodedness, it's a romance kind of thing. Think of The Shape of Water, which is a similar magical creature type situation. I just rewatched Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and there's swashbuckling action, and at the same time, really deep, like heartfelt romance too. But maybe it's for you, it was not for me.
How many popcorns are you going to give it?
Sadly, I have to give George Miller, who is one of the greatest directors we have, 5 out of 10. Sometimes,
5 out of
it's
10?
Yep, hit, miss. You can't win them all.
That is
but
harsh.
hey, Idris Elba topless for most of the movie.
For most of the movie. Well, JP, it's always great having you here in studio, even when you give movies a 5 out of 10. But that's JP Sebastian's opinion. It's in cinemas from today, so do go and watch it. Do let us know how many popcorns you would give it out of 10. But that's 3,000 Years of Longing, a new movie hitting the box office.